you. Yeah, we're live right now. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Adams Polish's Wednesday live video. We are here at headquarters, usually as always. That's Ryan right there. If you're local to Colorado, super helpful, works here at customer service. I'm just kind of gathering the last few things for the topic today. So over kind of the New Year's break, not necessarily, I mean it was for me, but mainly for like my wife and kids, we went up to Keystone Resort and went skiing. Keystone and Breckenridge are very close together if you're familiar with it, but you know, while I was driving, I was like, while I was driving, I guess I'll start over. How's that? Let me know if you guys can hear me. That'll be the main question. But essentially, can you guys hear me now? Mic's on. Anyways, you can just leave it off. You're supposed to open it first. Okay. So welcome to Adams Polish's Wednesday Live. Sorry, technical difficulties with the mics. But anyways, over kind of New Year's break, my kids and my wife and myself went up skiing to Keystone Resort up in Summit County. Keystone and Breckenridge are fairly close together, and Arapahoe Basin and all other kinds, Copper Mountain. But anyways, while I was driving up there, obviously like the weather was getting progressively worse, and mainly not weather, but the stuff that's on the road. And it, serves sort of a different challenge when it comes to cleaning your car, because, down here, if a lot of you don't know, in Denver, up in the mountains, there's always more snow. It's like the storms roll in and it kind of gets held by the mountains. Sometimes it makes it across the Great Divide and across the Front Range down here, but Denver in the foothills gets significantly less snow than up in the mountains. So when you're up there, your car gets way more dirty, like exponentially more dirty. And so going up there for a ski trip is a lot different than driving down here in the snow. And so going up and coming back, I was just thinking the whole time, like, oh my gosh, I really need to clean my car, I really need to clean my car. And then the week after New Year's, it snowed here and it's been really cold. So there's been snow on the ground, but today we caught a 50-degree day. Now the roads are dry. So right when the roads get dry, that's when it's time to clean your car. So today is like the ideal day to do it. Not only is it more comfortable for me, but it's also, the roads are dry, so if I clean my car and I drive, it's not going to get all dirty again. So the car that I'm working on has a ton of salt, like magnesium chloride, salt residue, dirt, grime. It's just stuck to the car. But also, there's a whole nother aspect too when you're driving in the mountains. You're driving 60, 70 miles an hour and you're coming to stops quickly because you're using the brakes more because you have steep downgrades, or steep grades, there's traffic. So not only am I getting my car dirty, I have a ton of brake dust buildup on my wheels as well. So there's a whole, not really a different process, but certain products you want to use for that. So just grabbing kind of the last stuff. I'll talk about this here in a second. And I think we're ready to go. So let's head out to the wash bay. We don't have the mics today. We have a little technical problem, so bear with us on the audio. I'll try to talk louder. Essentially, I have part of my washing setup ready. I got our Tether 2 buckets, our premium detailing buckets together. We'll come around to this side. And drying towel. So I like to keep my drying towel and the detail spray just on the seam here. Make sure you turn off the sprayer when you put it in your car. It can drip out. So first things first, so you can see, just look at the condition of the car. So you can see there's just caked on dirt, but a lot of it's also some of that salt, like where you see the white areas is more of that magnesium chloride or salt that they put on the roads. And the wheels, I mean, out of everything, are the absolute most filthy part of the whole car. So that's a part we want to focus on a little bit extra, but then getting into the car, there's certain products that are really going to help get this car looking back to really just like what I need it to be for winter. It doesn't need to be perfect during winter. And I would say that if you live in a winter area, expectations are key here. You don't want this super high expectation of perfect paint, perfect everything, because the weather just doesn't warrant you to have that all the time. So it's more of getting the harsh salt, the harsh magnesium chloride, the chemicals and things off of your car so it doesn't corrode things and all of that stuff. So yeah, you can kind of see, like, especially in the shade, there's still snow on the ground. But we just hit the right day today, and I think tomorrow it's going to be a little bit warmer. So it's like 50 right now. Tomorrow's going to be like 53, and then when you get to Saturday and Sunday, 6 and 5. There's, I think they call it a balm cyclone, like a big cold front that's going to come rolling through that's going to be absolutely freezing here. We're in the negative temperatures at night. So again, like, there's no snow coming, which I wouldn't even care if there was, but I want to get this job done now before I'm not able to do it for another couple weeks. So that's kind of the deal. So
people are saying that the sound is low. We aren't running microphones. We had a little bit of technical difficulties.
Yeah, when Matthew's talking, needs to be loud. When I'm talking, I'm going to try to talk louder because the microphone system isn't working right now, which is unfortunate, but I'll try to talk louder. Maybe I won't have a voice by the end, so bear with us a little bit. So, got my pressure. I have the Pressure Washer Pro 2.0 running. It's mounted inside of our detail bay. But first, I pulled the mats out. Now the mats get really dirty. Now, especially on a ski trip. Okay, we got stuck in traffic. I think we went on New Year's Day, and then we went on the 2nd. And on the 2nd, it took us 3.5 hours to get there, which, if there's no traffic, it takes you about an hour and 20 minutes. So more than double the time. And when you spend more time in the car, you get hungry, you get messy, all this stuff. So on the car, actually, there's a ton of food residue on this side of the middle mat, and my son spilled something while he was like eating, right? So life happens, which is fine, but I want to make sure that before we get into everything else, we address the floor mats. Now, I have these pointed, so I'm going to be spraying away from the car. My goal is to not get any water on the paint specifically before I start to avoid water spots. So just for now, we're going to blast these down. I'm just trying to get the loose dirt and grime off the best I can. So usually I like to just tip these over so there's not as much water. Now, we have Rubber Mountain Liner Cleaner. Love that product. But in this case, I need something a little bit more strong. So I'm actually going to be using Wheel and Tire Cleaner because it's a very strong chemical and it actually still works pretty well on the floor mat. So instead of using the big fan, I've turned it to stream, and I'm more targeting the extremely dirty areas, and then I'll just move the sprayer as I spray it to cover the rest of it.
Chester Thomas said, maybe do a live on how to do, I'm assuming how to deal with snow, 25 degrees, and a truck covered in salt and grime inside and out. I'm not doing well with this.
That's a good one. Yeah, how to deal with snow. Well, I think the tough thing, actually someone, I can't remember if it was Chester or somebody else, emailed me. I still need to respond to the email. I've just been really busy lately, but, and sorry for the excuse, but Someone asked me, like, they sent me a picture of, it's like a drive-through car wash they go to, which is a touchless car wash. So that means like they're using a pressure washer system to blast your car off, but also deliver foaming agents and washing and things like that to clean your car. And someone said, is that okay to do? Especially in like a winter area, yes, it's okay to do. Now, the one thing I will say is, as good as they are at cleaning the big broad surfaces, sometimes they don't always get like the nooks and crannies that you get when you do a hand wash. And so the one thing I would say about that, like if your car is like, this is extremely dirty, like more than it should be. And in this case, like I want to find a day where I can thoroughly clean the car. In that case where you're going through a drive-through, it's totally fine. But I would say, like, if your car is this dirty, I would do a hand wash. If you just came out of a snowstorm and it's not that bad, then you could go ahead and go through a touchless car wash. And you know, the one thing I will say about touchless car wash, the products that they use inside of there, they're not necessarily designed for high lubrication for when you are touching your car, right? So like our car shampoo, all of our soaps have high lubrication, so it reduces the chance of scratching. The way that they can clean your car extra is by using more harsh chemicals. So like we have strip wash, which I will be using today, but our strip wash isn't nearly as concentrated or as harsh as like the chemicals they use in a touchless car wash, because they have to use something harsh because they're not touching the car zero at all, right? So they're either using a really high alkaline product or a really high acidic product. And so you have to be careful. It might seem like it's okay, but some of those soaps is like, I don't know if I really want to put that hard. I wouldn't even want that stuff to touch my skin, you know? So you have to be careful with that a little bit. But I think if you're doing it minimal times and it's just like a quick, gotta get it done, I would make sure that your car is ceramic coated before going into that, because ceramic coatings are significantly more resistant to that stuff versus your clear coat, which will deteriorate and then oxidize and do all these things that you then have to do more correction when you come out into spring. So they are okay. You know, I would say that you know, not a lot of people out here live in Colorado or Denver, but there's a company out here called Auto Wash. We do some collaboration with them, and they have sort of, you know, to be honest with you, their marketing person we know very well because he used to work at Adams Polishes, and he knows better than anybody. Like, he went from Adams Polishes to Rupes, and now he's at Auto Wash, and he knows better than anybody that, like, I wouldn't say majority of cars, but now more than ever, there's more cars on the road, daily driven cars, that are ceramic coated. So Auto Wash has made a commitment to using chemistries that support cars that have been ceramic coated. And they know the power of the ceramic coating, that a lot of the dirt and grime comes off with just a blast of water. And so they're a great company, especially like if you live in Colorado. I imagine you could go on their website and find like a locator of where their certified like drive-through car washes, touchless drive-through car washes that they have either purchased as Auto Wash or people that they work with. And that I would suggest looking up if you're interested in like a drive-through car wash, because they made a commitment to understanding that people's cars are ceramic coated, so you don't need as harsh of chemical to really rip off the magnesium chloride and all the nasty stuff that's on them. So it's worth checking out.
Ken Wilson says, I saw a product on Adams Polish's community Facebook page that a person bought at AutoZone called Salt, Mud, and Grime Remover. What do you think about it?
Yeah. Ken Wilson, he's very connected with us here at Adams Polishes, which I love. But yeah, there's an AutoZone exclusive product at AutoZone. called Salt, Mud, and Grime Remover. And I would say like it's a pretty cool product. It's very, very similar to our strip wash. So, you know, I would say like if you're ordering from us online, a similar product would be strip wash. Salt, Mud, and Grime Remover it's, you know, it's almost like if you mix strip wash with some elements of waterless wash in there that's pulling stuff away from the surface. But, you know, I personally have not used it yet. They AutoZone worked with our sales team and got that through. And so I'm excited to use it. But what I'm curious about is like, you know, what I would say, if you have strip wash and you get Salt, Mud, and Grime Remover, use strip wash on the driver's side and you use Salt, Mud, and Grime Remover on the passenger side and just see what the difference is. I don't have a ton of information about it, just because, like I said, that product that made it through at AutoZone pretty quickly. We're supposed to shoot the video on that, and I've been designing stuff for our anniversary sale, which comes up in March, and it's a big deal because Adams Polishes turns 25. So I've been like head inside of my laptop grinding on different designs and other things. We have another special project that we're working on that I've been working on like crazy. So yeah.
Chester Thomas asks, will that car wash damage advanced coating?
No. Car wash. Will the touchless car wash damage the advanced coating? The answer is no. You know, I've said this before, but essentially, our ceramic coatings, there's not a single chemical that we have access to, whether it's at a car wash or anything that could damage the ceramic coating. Ceramic coatings are, I'll say, damaged or deteriorate. Ceramic coatings either damage or deteriorate from abrasion. So that means, you know, sanding or polishing or washing extremely dirty car. And like over time, like the more washes that you do, the more you're touching your car and abrading it. Even if you use the greatest car soap in the history of the world, which I hope you think ours is, but you know, there's just not, it's not, that's why, but again, I think ceramic coatings, I want people to get away from the thought process that like ceramic coatings are like you put it on your car and it stays on there forever. Like a ceramic coating is like a protection tool to make cleaning your car easier for a longer period of time. So, you know, like traditionally, if you're waxing your car, you have to, if you want your car protected and looking decent, you have to like wax your car every month. It's a very consistent routine, very consistent process. When you got into sealants, it's more in the month type of time frame. So it's like every 3 to 6 months you have to reapply sealant. It's like a process you have to go through. Ceramic coatings are measured in years. So like, you know, every year you could reapply the spray coating, or every 2 or 3 years you could reapply the graphene ceramic coating advanced. But you know, the reason why I say like 2 to 3 years is because over that span of time, how much you're washing your car and doing all of that stuff really determines the reduction of ceramic coating material that's on your car. So don't get it mixed up that like a ceramic coating is permanent and a forever thing. It's definitely not. But also, you know, don't get this idea that like if you use a high acidic car wash, it's going to remove the ceramic coating. It's extremely resistant to it. So just keep that in mind. I don't think you don't have to overthink it too much, but I might even do like a live video that kind of outlines ceramic coatings and like, you know, not only is it a tool, but the way that it performs kind of has these benefits to it. It might be kind of fun to talk about it. You know, I think sometimes people think like, oh, I put a ceramic coating on my car and, you know, I don't have to touch it, or I can be like careless with it. You know, I think ceramic coatings, when they go on your car, still require the same kind of care that you would do even if you put a sealant on your car. It makes it a lot easier to do. And I think the thing we have to think about too is like a ceramic coating, because it's more resistant to micro scratches. You know, you can wipe your car down, you can wash it, do all these things, and it's not going to get as deep of scratches or as many swirl marks as it would with like a clear coat or a wax. And so over time, your car continues to look better. But like over a span of 3 years, those swirl marks start to show up. But the thing is, they're not as deep as they would be in your clear coat. So when you polish your car, it removes those swirl marks very, very easy because they're so fine that you can get away with like a one-step polish. So even your polishing process to kind of reset your paint back to perfect is even that much easier, right? And because clear coat is harder than, or sorry, ceramic coating is harder than clear coat, you don't need such a fine polish to refine it. You can use, like I said, the one-step polish and really get it looking amazing. And that's, to me, that ceramic coating is like, you put this on your car, it's easier to wash, number one. I said I was gonna do a live on this one, I'm just doing it right now. But number one, it's easier to wash. Like when the water hits it, more dirt and grime comes off. Number two, it's more resistant to chemicals, so your paint's not gonna deteriorate as fast. Number three, because it's harder, it doesn't get as deep of damage, so it's easier to correct. So like everything after a ceramic coating moving forward for car care, from washing to maintenance to machine polishing, all that stuff is more efficient and a lot easier to do. So that's like, to me, that's more like what a ceramic coating does versus like, is the ceramic coating on my car? Yeah, I mean, probably like right here, there's not gonna be as much ceramic coating versus like right here, you know? And then like ceramic coatings last longer in regions where there's not as much harsh weather. So like in California, ceramic coatings last longer than they do in Colorado because you're not exposed to dirt and grime like this, in which I can rinse this off the best that I can, there's still going to be remnants of dirt, which means my wash pad will have more dirt in it, which will abrade the surface more. It's just kind of the reality of it, you know? So okay, so we cleaned the floor mats, we hung them up on our floor mat clips. Now it's time to get into the wheel cleaning process. And I used wheel and tire cleaner before for the mats because I wanted something a little bit more strong, I guess you could say. But also, like normally what I would do, because I'm going to have more brake dust on this, I talked about it earlier. You're driving in traffic up to the mountains, you're driving on steeper grades, so you're braking more. You're going to have more brake dust buildup on your wheels. So I definitely want to use wheel cleaner because the thioglycolate will help break down the metal brake dust that's on these wheels. But I want something a little bit more strong to clean the tires. So instead of using tire and rubber cleaner, I'm actually going to use this to clean the tires and the fender wells. So it's kind of like I'm swapping wheel and tire cleaner out for, or I'm swapping tire and rubber cleaner out for wheel and tire cleaner. That's a mouthful. But I think for me, the wheel and tire cleaner, and I'm sure you guys would agree, the wheel and tire cleaner does a better job of pulling out the nastiness. I mean, you can see it turns brown immediately. It does a better job of pulling that out, like just in the beginning.
Real quick,
Yeah.
Jose Vargas asks, does the hood light bar adjust to smaller vehicles?
Oh, you know what? Gosh, I can't remember like how wide it goes. I think on the website there's a spec that talks about from like one end to the other how wide it is. but whatever width that is, it can't go any smaller. So depending on the size of the car, if it fits around your hood, then you're good to go. But if it's smaller, then it's going to be a little bit harder to do. But the one thing I will say is that those lights are detachable and they have hooks. So like even if it's too small to go around your hood or around like the interior portion of your car, you can always take the lights off and like hook them in places that still gives you like really good directional lighting. Okay, so stroke the tire really quick.
Ken Wilson is asking, how about a live about cleaning a vehicle that has caked on dirt or mud to safely remove without scratching?
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Who asked that?
Ken Wilson.
Yeah, Ken Wilson said, how about a video or a live video about a car that is, you know, almost like probably like more like an off-roading style vehicle that just has like caked on mud. Kind of clean one of those. Okay, so wheel and tire cleaner done. Now this is wheel cleaner. And I really want to make sure I spray the caliper down, even in the hat down here and in the barrel of the wheel, because that's going to be the dirtiest part of the wheel. So I got a lot off by hitting it with the pressure washer, but like you can see there's a lot of like purple happening in these areas, and especially in the barrel, because like I can't necessarily fit the pressure washer back in there. It makes it a little bit harder to access. So I'm gonna let that just dwell for a second. And if you notice, I'm not blasting the whole car down. I want to reduce the amount of water, mainly hard water, that goes on to the whole car to reduce the chance for water spots. So I'm gonna start with the angled wheel brush. And I like to start by cleaning behind the spokes and then keep it flat and then run it all the way into the barrel of the wheel. Now I would say too, like, you know, you could get away with doing this process with wheel and tire cleaner alone. But one thing I will say is that when you're driving in excess amounts of snow, even though maybe your car doesn't put out a ton of metallic brake dust, other cars do. And that metallic brake dust can mix in with the snow, and then when you drive, it cakes onto your car as well. And that's why in winter areas, doing an iron remover process is like really important. And that's like, I do that probably every 3 months when I do like a maintenance clay. I'm not gonna do it during this wash because this is the first winter wash of this car that I'm doing for the year. And so I don't feel like I need to do it right now, but with it being a white car, you know, probably here in another month, I will need to do the iron remover process and you know what I forgot? This is freezing water. I have gloves. So I talked about this on the last live. Somebody was asking me about this. I have bought these surfing wetsuit gloves, and you can see like how high they come up my arm. But essentially, these have grip on them, so it's easy to use the tools. But the way that I talked about this on the last slide, like I just said, but the way that wetsuit gloves work is if water gets inside here, you actually want water to get inside the glove because it creates this barrier in which the material of the wetsuit glove heats up the water, and it creates like, it's like wetsuit glove, then hot water, and then your hands. It uses your body temperature to heat up the water between the gloves and your hands, and that's what keeps you warm. That's like how wetsuits work. And so when I was, you know, I've been washing cars in winter for many years, and I just could never figure out, like, you know, do I have watertight gloves? There's just no way for me to not get my hands wet, no matter what, putting my hands in. And so I tried these one time, and they're a miracle. And so when I'm reaching into my bucket, searching for tools, my hands get freezing. This is what I need right here. Trim and lug nut brush, because I want to hit the caliper. But these gloves really help my washing process, especially in the winter, to keep my hands warm. And if it's a little bit windy, out, it protects it from the wind and keeps them warm the whole time. So. One wheel down, as I stand back and look through, I can see how clean the barrel is. It looks exactly like the same finish as the face of the wheel, but you can really, you know, from one to the other, you can really see the difference of. I took a little bit of extra time on that first wheel because heating is very important. And what I'm going to do for time's sake, I will just clean this rear driver's side wheel, and then I'll wash the car, and then after we're done with the live, then I'll finish cleaning the other wheels. But the other thing I will say is, like, when you hang your floor mats, if you lean them up against your porch, face them towards the sun, like, those are already dry, you know, so if they fall over, just try to prop them up so they're facing towards the sun, which is going to help dry them a lot faster.
Nathan Wimsat says, I find good success using wheel cleaner on the wheels and then using wheel and tire cleaner over top of the wheel and tire, but using it in a foam cannon.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, Nathan, see, and that's the kind of stuff that I like, is Nathan's kind of experimenting. Like he was saying he used wheel cleaner as his like initial round of cleaning, and then he'll use wheel and tire cleaner out of a foam cannon to foam wheel and tire cleaner on, and then do his cleaning. I like that. You know, I think for me, like, I want my process to be as efficient as possible, and so essentially going through the cleaning process twice, I try to avoid that because I don't want to spend twice the amount of time cleaning my wheels or cleaning my car. But in the case that the wheels are more dirty, I will do 2 rounds of it, and I'll probably try that next time, where whether it's out of the foam cannon or whether it's out of the foaming IK sprayer, I might have to try that next time, which I think is really cool. I'm curious, Nathan, like, when you use the foam with wheel and tire cleaner, does the foam turn crazy brown on the tire from it pulling out all the stuff?
Ken Wilson is asking, is there a similar product to a wheel brush to apply a product like ceramic detail spray to wheel barrels? He says he uses a microfiber towel around a barrel brush to do the job.
Yeah, I think Ken mentioned that to me. I think he texted me on that, of using something to like get into the barrel of the wheels. Yeah, I mean, I think a angled wheel brush with a towel on it is fine. I think for me, I don't necessarily get too, you know, like if I want my wheels to look extremely clean, then I'll just clean them like this with a bucket of water and the right products. But if I want to protect them, I'm more pulling my wheels off and ceramic coating them with the advanced graphene coating, because it's going to last a lot longer, and I don't have to worry about reapplying it, you know, as many times. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're trying to do like graphene detail spray, you know, I think that's a cool idea of what he's talking about. Now I started spraying wheel and tire cleaner in here, and I forgot that these are carpeted. So you don't need to spray product in the carpeted fender wells. This right here, pressure washer, is the thing that you need when you are cleaning carpeted fender wells. So just take this, and I like essentially to start here with the fan, and then I'll like push the dirt down. And I think that's kind of like, you know, there's a lot of debate in our industry as far as what's the most important when it comes to a pressure washer. And, you know, I think if you talk to certain people in our industry, they would say GPM is the most important. What's the most GPM that you can get out of your pressure washer? And I agree to a certain extent, you know, but for me, I like a mixture of a decent PSI, which is the pressure, and GPM. So like if my pressure washer is not all the way to 2 GPM or above, but it's at like 1.8, but my pressure's still in that 1200 to 1300 range, that for me is ideal. And I think like that carpeted fender well is the perfect example of that. If I don't have enough pressure, it's not going to get all that stuff out of there, you know? So having a mixture of both, it's like baseball, right? Like, do you want a guy that only hits 50 home runs a year but strikes out 100 or 500 times? Or do you want like a guy that hits doubles, singles, and home runs but doesn't strike out? Like, you want him to get on base, you know? It's like you want a good average of both to get the job done, essentially. And that's kind of my, as far as performance goes, when I'm looking for a pressure washer, I really want something that is a good mixture of both. You know, maybe I kind of have my specs that I want them to be at, like, you know, at least 1200 psi and at least, you know, 1.7 GPM. And I think, you know, again, that's like a debatable thing. I think if you ask other people, they're like, well, I want 3 GPM and 800 psi, and I think that's fine too. I'm not here to tell those people that they're wrong. I think sometimes it comes in as like a personal preference, but I think for me, in my experience, having a good mixture of both is very helpful when it comes to doing all aspects of a car, not just washing a car.
Wendy is asking, do you like the new turbo nozzle for carpeted wheel wells?
I like the new turbo nozzle for carpeted wheel wells. Yeah, I do. Anytime you can add pressure to blast things out of the carpeted fender wells, yes, 100%. So, I mean, I guess it's not really adding pressure. It's just like a different, shape. You know what? The more I think about it, I'd probably say I like more of the standard nozzle. And like when I'm wheel cleaning, I use the 25-degree tip. Our pressure washers come, I mean, most pressure washers come the same, but you get, you know, a 0-degree tip, a 15-degree tip, a 25-degree tip, and a 40-degree tip. And when it comes to cleaning wheels and tires and fender wells, I like the 25-degree tip, which is what this green one is. I think so. I think the yellow one. Yeah, the yellow one is the 15. The green is the 25. The white is the 40, and the red is the 0. The reason why the 0 one is red is because you should never use it when you clean your car. It's like a stop sign. Green is green because it's good to go when it comes to cleaning wheels. But the reason why I like these better than the turbo nozzle is that like this flat piece, so you can see like, I mean, you guys know what it is. It's a flat fan. It gives me like something that I can cover, you know, this much of an area, and I can use it to push things off. Whereas the turbo nozzle is essentially like a circle, and it does this motion, in which I like that, but I like that for washing cars. But for carpeted fender wells, I want like a flat thing that I can, it's like almost like using a squeegee versus like a brush to like push something off of something, right? Or like a flat brush, like a cockpit brush where you can like scrub and move things away, or a circle brush. So I personally like this fan a little bit better when it comes to, like I was saying, I don't know if Matthew can show you this, maybe over here. You're not gonna see much because they're pretty clean already. But it's like I want to be able to use the fan and push the stuff off of it, you know. Whereas with the turbo nozzle, it would just kind of be rotating through there.
Terry O'Connell is asking, how safe is the Adams salt, mud, and grime remover for winter maintenance washes on coated vehicles?
How safe is the salt, mud, and grime remover?
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely safe and it works amazing. So, salt, mud, and grime remover, AutoZone exclusive product. We don't even sell it on day, but like I said, it's very similar to our strip wash, but it's completely safe for ceramic coated vehicles. And if anything, you know, I think it kind of sits more on the I could be wrong, but I think it sits more on the alkaline side of things. You know, one side of the chemistry scale is acidic and the other side is alkaline, and then right in the middle is pH neutral. And the alkaline side is designed to break down certain things like salt and stuff like that, whereas the acidic part of it is more designed to remove like grease and things like that. And so the more alkaline formula, you know, what I would probably say is the salt, mud, and grime remover is not quite as alkaline strong as our strip wash, but kind of sits in between. So it has the power to remove the salt residue that's on your car. But I think the reason why it says mud and grime is it has more lubrication than our strip wash, so your wash pad can glide and not cause as much damage. Not as much damage as strip wash, but more of like your wash pad glides, so it reduces the chance for scratching. And our strip wash does a good job of that, but like personally for me, I'm using the power of strip wash to break down the salt, mud, and grime. So like I have strip wash, I'm going to talk about that, like I'm going to start rinsing this off, but I'm going to use strip wash to foam the car first and foremost. And actually, that brings up a good point. Even though I have not rinsed the car down yet, I put this in my pocket actually. I just have too much stuff in there. So it's right here. Before I even rinse the car down, I actually want to use the power of strip wash to start breaking this stuff down. So I'm going to put this on now, and I'm going to foam the car with strip wash. I'm going to wait for these ladies to walk by, or else I will watch them foam. That would not be very nice.
Really quick, Terry says MSDS sheet shows 3 pH. That's what concerned me.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, 3 pH. I mean, you're 4 away from neutral. I'm not sure where strip wash sits. You know, if you're Peter right now, tell us what pH strip wash is. I'm not sure 100%, but so before I rinse the car, I'm going to Try to use the power of strip wash a little bit. Start breaking some stuff down. So I guess, you know, technically, you could almost say I'm using strip wash as a pre-wash. This is like before I even start the washing process. I'm doing this to allow it to I'm letting strip wash do the pre-wash where it's, you know, breaking down any of the harsh salt or magnesium chloride. So I think magnesium chloride is just a form of salt, but trying to get it to pull it away from the car, and then I'll rinse it off. I'll refoam it with strip wash, and then I'm going to use graphene shampoo as in my bucket on my wash towel.
Nathan Wimsat is asking, how many ounces of strip wash are you using in that?
I didn't measure it. And Nathan, I'm just going to be completely honest. I don't ever measure my soap. It's more of a feel. You know, I probably have to say, if I had to guess, I probably use more like 6 ounces of it. In this case, when I'm doing winter washing, I actually use more. I want more concentration of it. I don't want it as diluted as I spray this on here. If I was doing strip wash as like using strip wash to remove like wax or sealant before I was gonna fully polish and detail the car, I would have used less, probably like 3 ounces. But I think for me, I don't really get too caught up with like measuring it. I'm more of just like, I did it out of a 5-gallon, so I put I filled the foam cannon up about halfway with water, and then I stuck it onto the 5-gallon, turned the spout, and just like kind of waited until it looked, I don't know, I can't really even describe it, but I sort of waited a little bit extra longer and then closed it off. Now, if I was using it out of the bottle, you know, it probably looked like, you know, it's a 16-ounce bottle, so half of that is 8 ounces. Probably like just before half is how much I used. But again, just so you guys know, like, I generally don't put water in my foam can. I just put, most of the time I'm using mega foam, and I actually have 2 foam cannons. I have one that has mega foam in it, and I have one that has graphene shampoo in it. And oftentimes, like when it gets, I don't keep too much of one soap in there, because if I need to use strip wash, I can do that. But the thing for me is, our foam cannons, they don't only fit our 35-ounce bottle. They have a thread connection right in the middle that you can put a 16-ounce bottle on. So like, if I'm going to use strip wash, I just put the 16-ounce, because it's just a screw top. It's not, there's no pull top on it. I'll just put that straight onto the foam cannon, full strength, and then on the foam cannon, here, I'll just demonstrate it for you. So like, this one should, yeah. So this is a 35-ounce bottle. These are the threads for the 35-ounce bottle. But on the inside, near where the straw is, there's a whole nother set of threads. So like, if I'm going to use strip wash, and actually now that I think about it, I only have one foam cannon. Mega foam is in that only at full strength. I pour essentially two 16-ounce bottles inside of that full strength. Not quite 2, because it's a 35-ounce bottle, but any specialty soap that I'm going to use, like let's say that I came out to wash my car and I'm doing a ceramic coating maintenance on my car, I would just take my graphene shampoo and I would just put this on here and put the threads on the inner portion of the threads, like so. I'm right-handed, so that's why it didn't work. Like this, okay? And then before I start using it, I take the top, this is like the regulator. I would turn this all the way counterclockwise, as far as I can have it go, okay? Now, when I put this on here, And I pull the trigger, it's water coming out of it. There's no suds whatsoever, if you can see that, right? Now, if I pull it and I start dialing this up, now the suds start to come out, right? And so I can use this top regulator to determine how much suds I'm going to use. So if I wanted less thick suds, I would just turn this down even a little bit more. So it's just barely coming out with not a lot of suds. Or I could crank this up so it's like snow foam type of thing, right? So like you can see on here with graphene shampoo, it's like nice thick suds. And the thing that's nice about the regulator is it's essentially regulating how much the straw inside here is pulling through. So if you don't have this full turn, it's not going to use as much out of this bottle. So if I went and foamed this whole car down, I might use, gosh, not even an ounce maybe out of this. It's going to use a lot less product, and that is my favorite way to utilize. That's why I use my mega foam. I have two full 16-ounce bottles inside my foam can canister, because I don't, two 16-ounce bottles of mega foam last strength inside of that. So that's kind of my little trick. Like, the thing, it's different here, right? Because this is like a community detail thing. Like, even if you live local to Colorado and you hit me up and you say, hey, can I come wash my car at Adams Polishes? I'd be like, yeah, head over. No big deal. Like, everybody uses this wash bay, right? So like, I can't just have this set up personally to me, because not everybody does the same process. But for me at home, that's kind of how I like to do it. And then again, like my specialty soaps, like graphene shampoo, strip wash, things like that. Then I'm getting into using it out of the 60-ounce bottle. So you're gonna notice I'm gonna start rinsing this off, but the strip wash has been sitting on here for quite a while, and you'll actually notice like the car's gonna look a lot better as I go through this. But the one thing I think what you guys will end up noticing is that sorry, I'm talking, you can't hear me. What you're gonna notice, like especially back here, you see this? This is more like road oil and grime that is mixed with dirt. Okay, and that's why like when I spray this, first off, it's super flat. Secondly, it's not coming off. So the more like salt, loose dirt, and grime is all coming off. Up here is kind of in the middle, but where the road grime is, where essentially like road oil, mixes with the water, or mixes with the snow, mixes with the water, and then goes up onto the car. I need something powerful to get that off. And that's why I have graphene shampoo with me, because it's more of a degreaser type of product. I'm using the power of strip wash to get the salt, magnesium chloride off, and a little bit stronger of a soap. And then I'm using the degreasing power after I rinse with the graphene shampoo to break down this road oil.
Nathan Wimsat is saying Megafoam doesn't have any cleaning properties though. It's more of a pre-rinse to loosen up dirt and grime, correct?
No. So, well, Megafoam is not a pre-rinse to washing. You can use it as a standard soap. And I would say, like, when we talk about soaps, all the soaps have surfactants. Surfactant is just a fancy word for soap. That's like what hand soap is, surfactant. Surfactants are things that mix with dirt and grime, they encapsulate it, and then when you spray it with water, the water molecules grab onto the surfactant molecules and then they come off of the car. So what I want you to understand is every single car soap that's on the market has cleaning power, right? But most of our soaps are pH neutral, so they don't sit on an alkaline side or an acidic side. That's why we have specialty soaps like graphene shampoo, strip wash. I'm trying to think of any other ones, but anyways, you know, when it comes to standard washing your car, the surfactants are the thing that are pulling the dirt away, and then you rinse it with water and it falls off. The thing about Mega Foam and car shampoo is that they have extra surfactants that don't sit on an alkaline side or an acidic side, which extra surfactants means more lubricity. They also have lubricating elements to it. Now, lubricating elements means that when you rub your wash pad on here, it glides better while it picks up the dirt and grime, and it reduces the chance for scratching. So Mega Foam, you know, I like to use it out of my foam cannon, and I will tell you why right now. I don't like using it out of my bucket. The reason why is Mega Foam is designed to have thick suds that sustain for a long time. Car shampoo has medium thick suds that are designed to dissipate over a short period of time. Now you can see on the ground right now with how concentrated I use strip wash, the foam is not going away, right? So when I get into, I'm not saying that I do this, but there have been times where I'm rinsing my car off after washing and there's still really thick suds of Mega Foam everywhere. And I'm going like this, and I go to rinse my wheel, and it blows the foam back up onto my car, and then I have to rinse my car again over here. I want my foam to dissipate and go away and go down the drain easily, like how it looks like down here, like down there, because I don't want to blow dirty foam back up onto my car. It just means I have to rinse extra times. And so Mega Foam for me is great out of the foam cannon, because over the time of when I foamed it down and then washed it by using car shampoo in my bucket, the foam has dissipated and gone away. So I do like Mega Foam, and the reason why I'm mainly using Mega Foam is, number one, eliminate water spots immediately. Any soap that's pH neutral eliminates water spots. Water spots are one of the most pesky things and the worst things to try to get rid of. There's 3 ways to do it, and none of them are, the first one's easy and the other 2 are not easy. Excuse me. Now, the other part of it is I want the thick suds to stay on the car because I want more lubrication as I go and use my wash pad on it. So the more lubrication, the better it is for me. So the more suds that stay on the car when I go to dunk my wash pad in the bucket and use it, the more lubrication and more suds, the better, because it's going to reduce the chance for scratching. So no Mega Foam or car shampoo have sit in an alkaline side or an acidic side, but that's why we offer both, not only graphene shampoo but also strip wash, which both sit on either side of that. So I hope that makes sense.
Nathan said Mega Foam is great clay for me.
What's that?
Mega Foam is a great clay for me.
Great clay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Mega Foam is a great clay.
Also, your camera here is about to die too.
Okay. You know how much percent we have?
Let's see, 16.
My phone's about to die. 16%. So we'll run it for a few more minutes, but essentially I just need to rinse the soap off really quick, and then I'm going to foam it and start washing. And I'll mainly focus on the other side so you guys can see. So let's foam down. So now with this, Now, I feel like in my mind, I'm sure there's some remnants left of it, but a lot of that salt, the strip wash breaks down. And I think with that rinsing off the strip wash, it took off a lot of that salt. Now what I'm gonna do, because essentially getting off that dirt and grime and the salt, it revealed that there's more road film or road oil on there than there is like salt and everything. So I'm switching to graphene shampoo. Like this. Mainly focusing on the bottom. A little bit up top. I'll just do this side for time's sake. Okay, just like so. And then I'll set this down over here. Put my pressure washer tip back on. And actually, I'm going to take my graphene shampoo and I need to put some in my bucket. And actually, instead of in my bucket, where I want to put it is onto the wash pads. So take the wash pad. That wash pad's really dirty. We're just going to put some of this up here. Like so. A little bit in the bucket.
Amin, forgive me if I butchered that. What pressure washer are you using?
I'm using the Pro Pressure Washer 2.0. It's the one we just released this last year. So now I'm going to generate some. So I'm going to take this out because there's like leaves and all kinds of stuff on it. So generating suds, you push this down in, pull it, and then start pulling it up to get to the surface. You don't blast yourself. Now, I'm going to tell you this, like, what I need to do, probably take a little bit of time, but I'm draining out my wheel cleaning bucket. Once that's all drained out, I'm going to start washing this, but once that's all drained out, I'll rinse this out, fill it up with water, and I'll use that as my 2 bucket. Now, when you're in the winter time, a 2 bucket wash is very good because you have more stuff on your car, right? So doing a 2 bucket wash is very important. Now, the other aspect to that is generally in a winter area, you're going to be correcting your car when you get into spring. There's no way you can go through winter washing your car with that much dirt and grime on it and not get damage. So I know, like in April or May, I'm going to do a paint correction process on this. So if I can get away with doing a 1 bucket wash, even if I get a little bit of damage, like I'm okay with that. Again, I said this in the beginning, setting a realistic expectation, right? Like even if you do a 2 bucket wash, you're still gonna get damage. Maybe not as much as a 1 bucket wash, but because I know the expectation that I'm going to paint correct this car in the spring, I'm not going to get upset if I end up just doing a 1 bucket wash. So I just want you guys to, I just want to say that. And I know with a company that's designed to make cars look perfect, keep them that way. It might seem crazy, but like a daily driven vehicle is so much different than a car that you're preserving for perfection all the time. A garage clean is different. You can really spend extra time cleaning those cars, but those cars are not being driven up to Breckenridge or Keystone Resort to go skiing, right? So just a little bit different. So you can see like here's that oil as I rub it across with my wash pad. I'm not pushing hard, just the weight of my hand. It goes away immediately. And that's the power of that graphene shampoo that's really helping break that down, you know. Another tip, if you don't have graphene shampoo, you can put like 3 or 4 capfuls of all-purpose cleaner, the neon green stuff that we sell. You can put like 3 or 4 capfuls of that into put it in with car shampoo. That has the greasing properties and it will perform. But you know, the graphene shampoo also has like more lubricity to it, and that's partially why I like this product during like winter washing. Even like on a non-ceramic coated vehicle. See, I just put my hand in here and my hand is perfectly warm. That's why I love having these gloves.
Amin said, thank you. Love that. I just bought the same pressure washer from you guys. Have used it a couple times. Fantastic product.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, our R&D team did a great job on our most recent round of pressure washers. Even our pressure washer 3.0 was like amazing for like what price point it is and like what you get out of it. It works so good. So I have the grade at the bottom of the bucket. You can kind of see it in here if I can get this out. This guy. So every time I come back to my suds here, I'm rubbing it against the grate to get the dirt and grime off of my wash pad. So then when I pull it out, I have a nice fresh wash pad that I'm using. And that's the thing, like normally on like a summer day, I would have probably gone this whole half of the car before I went to my grate that's inside my wash bucket. But on winter vehicles that have extra dirt and grime on them, I'm going to go back to it more frequently. All right, Matthew, what percentage are we at?
Let's see. 10%.
Oh, we're 10%.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
See, the lubrication of graphene shampoo is like my wash pad is still gliding perfect, and you can see how dirty my wash pad is. So I'm flipping the wash pad more consistent, more regularly, I guess would be a better way to put that, and going back to my grade more consistent. And that, I would say, like, that's one thing I do really like about these premium buckets, premium detailing buckets, is that, you know, you can tether your two buckets together. And so, like, on a really, you can see how much cleaner that is. I'm sure you guys just saw how dirty it was. But the one thing I like is, like, before I get to the other side, I'll probably fill this up with clean water. And like this will be like the bucket that I'm rubbing my wash pad against with the dirtiest part of the water, right? Dirtiest wash pad. Then I'll still rub it against the grate in the sudsy bucket, the wash bucket, I guess you could call it. But if the car is this dirty and I need to refresh my water, whether it's tethered like this or whether it's you know, another bucket, I can just pop the bottom drain, and while it's draining, I can still be washing. Then when I come back, I fill it up with water, rub it again. So like I have fresh water consistently all the time while I do this process. So, but just by using the grate in the wash bucket, you know, the wash pad is still very clean as I go back to it. But again, like with winter, your car's more dirty than it ever is the whole year, especially like in the heart of winter, and especially when you're driving up in the mountains going skiing. I mean, listen, here, I'm just gonna give you a little secret. The Department of Transportation does not care what your car looks like. So they don't care what they put on the roads. Their job is to make the roads safe. So whether they need to put salt, magnesium chloride, whatever it may be, to melt that snow and make it more safe for people to drive, that's their job, okay? Now, we're not gonna be mad at them for that, because I'd rather be safe than have a perfectly clean car, especially when my family's in the car. But we also have to recognize that we need to get that stuff off of the car when we get back down and there's a nice day like today. So as we rinse, you'll be able to see. Someone was asking me before about the turbo nozzle. I would love to have that right now. Either that or the 40-degree tip, because when you have a wider fan, it's easier to get more water off of the car. So 25-degree tip when it comes to wheels and tires and exhaust tips and engines, 40-degree tip when it comes to washing your car.
Anton said, great live. Cheers, everybody.
Cool. Good to see you, Anton. Yeah, I'll sign off here in a second. All right, so very, very clean driver's side of a car. The other side, jacked up. But I'm gonna finish it here in a second. But yeah, I hope today was helpful. Again, I talk about this a lot in polishing, okay? Machine polishing. Changing variables, but keeping the same technique is how we can be effective without having to change the whole system, right? So washing, 2-bucket wash system, that's like a foundation, that's a fundamental thing that we do when it comes to washing without causing damage or reducing the chance of getting damage. But if I need extra cleaning power because there's salt and magnesium chloride on my car, instead of using Mega Foam in my foam cannon, I'll just swap it for strip wash. Now I did add a step where I foam the car before I start rinsing it. So that's one thing. Now there was a lot of road film or road oil on the side of the car. So I knew that car shampoo or Mega Foam is not going to help with that. Maybe a little bit, but it's not going to do what I need it to do. So I changed one variable, which is instead of using car shampoo in my bucket and my foam before I start washing, I use graphene shampoo to cut through all of that road oil that's on the car. So listen, and same thing with cleaning the wheels, right? Like I needed more power to get more embedded dirt and grime out of the tires and the fender wells. So instead of using tire and rubber cleaner, I used wheel and tire cleaner. So just a couple different variables that we're using to go through and add extra cleaning power, but it's not something that we have to change with extra force of washing or anything like that. We want to keep it as simple as possible and then just add or subtract a couple of things here and there, replace. So strip wash was a big tool for us today. You know, it really broke down a lot of that salt and grime. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it, but after I foamed strip wash down when it was dry, when I rinsed it off, it was like the only thing you could see on the car was dirt embedded with the road oil, right? And then I used the graphene shampoo, which is the second most important product and variable that we use today. And that cut through the road oil. I mean, you can see it came off perfect just by using it with the wash pad and out of the bucket. So you know, just having the awareness of, you know, I think I do this naturally because I work here and I clean cars. That's like what I do for a living. But, you know, when I'm driving and as soon as it rains and I'm driving in the rain, I'm like immediately thinking in my head, the next time I wash my car, I need to use graphene shampoo because I know that the road oil is going to mix with the rainwater. It's going to slosh all over my car. And essentially from the belt line down, there's going to be road oil all over my car, right? So it's like, as you're going through these things, the stuff that's introduced to your car that you want to get off, there's tools and chemicals that we sell that can help you do that. Now, what I want to do after this, I'll wash the rest of the car, but I need to boost the protective hydrophobic agents that are on this car. This whole side is extremely flat, and that's because I can see there's a ton of swirl marks in this car. Like, I'm not scared to show you. This is my wife's car, right? Like, I need to correct this, but this is not the time. The spring is the time because you don't get as much harsh weather through the summer. So I'm gonna wait on that, but those swirl marks are giving the water places to go. That's why the water is very flat, and I'm sure this needs to be clayed, 100%. And I think next week I will talk about that if it's not 6 degrees outside. But, you know, I'm gonna wait to do the paint correction process, but to make this easier to clean the next time I go up skiing or the next time it snows, what I'm gonna do is before I dry this, I'm gonna use our rinse aid to add some hydrophobic elements to this car to make cleaning it easier the next time. Rinse aid is one of the easiest products to add hydrophobic properties to your car. And if you're not familiar with it or you're interested in it, go to YouTube here and look up the Adams Polishes Rinse Aid and watch that video, both of how it can affect a car that's never been protected, but also how it can affect a car that is graphene ceramic coated. So that is for sure the product I'm going to use here because it's as simple as throwing onto my foam cannon head, just like I use the graphene shampoo without the canister. I'll use it, rinse it off, boom, it's protected, and then I'm ready to go. Then I'll dry it and I'll be done. So yeah, I hope today was helpful. And you know, the next thing I kind of want to get into is like decon, whether it's removing bonding contamination of like paint overspray or tree sap or iron fallout as well. I really want to break that down for you guys because I think there's some misunderstanding of like how some of this stuff works. So next week, that's what I'm hoping to do. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Anton, if you come to Colorado, I want to go golfing with you. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next Wednesday at 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time.